Hey YouTube, it's Pointshooter here. Today I'm doing a video about the book 98.6 Degrees, written by Cody Lundin, and about the survival kit that's contained in the book. This book is a how-to guide for new hikers, experienced hikers, anybody who's interested in learning what it takes to really survive. This is a no-nonsense book. It tells you basically everything you need to know and tells you how to build a really great kit. So let's talk about the survival kit that's listed in there. It's got about 20 contents. I'm not going to run through the list here, but I'm going to show the contents because I have them all laid out here. First of all, let's talk about shelter. He recommends a couple things for shelter. First, a reusable space blanket. This is a USGI surplus casualty blanket. It's got the reflective side on one edge and the vinyl OD green on the other side. For survival, OD green might not be the best choice. He recommends the brightly colored ones, the red or orange made by Grabber. I like the OD green because it's low profile and it sort of blends in, but it's certainly not the thing you want to have if you're trying to look to be rescued. Next, for shelter, 55-gallon drum liner, or also known as barrel liners. I call them big black trash bags, personally. These are leaf bags. These are only 45 gallons, but it still allows you to do the same thing. You can cut it open, use it as a plastic sheet, maybe put a roof on your shelter, maybe use it to keep you off the wet ground, fill it with dried leaves or newspaper, and you can make yourself a sleeping bag. There's a lot of different things you can use this for. You could use it to collect water, you could use it to store water, just a multitude of uses. This is a really good item to have. He recommends you carry two. I only include one for space and weight, well, more space than anything, but they fold up pretty small. He recommends also a standard space blanket. This is just a cheap aluminized space blanket. What I would rather see would be an Adventure Medical Kit's Thermo Bivy. This is the Heat Sheets Bivy. The book was written in 2003, and that's something I need to mention. So a lot of things have changed since then. Some of the items that are included in the kit may be a little bit outdated, but that might be 1 or 2 out of 20. So the space blanket, I think a lot of people are moving up to these bivy bags, and while the space blanket is still good, I'd rather have a bivy bag personally. Next, let's talk about cordage. It recommends you carry 100 feet of paracord. Excuse me. 100 feet is a lot to carry in my opinion. It's big, it's bulky. I opt for about 40 to 50 feet. I think this is a 40-foot hank. And he recommends that you carry white in the summer for high visibility and black in the wintertime against the snow. I carry brown year-round, just because that's what I have. I bought a 1,000-foot spool of it, and it's good stuff. Paracord is always good to have. Next, he recommends dental floss. You're probably thinking, why dental floss? Well, you can sew with it, and it's very strong. It's surprisingly strong. If you've ever tried to break it, it's got a lot of strength to it. Now, personally, for me, I don't carry dental floss. I carry Snare Wire, because I can use the shroud cords, the inner cords from the paracord if I had to sew something. It'd be a little difficult, but you could do it. And I like the Snare Wire because it allows you to, you could string up a pot with this, you could, it won't burn, and you could make a snare with it. There's a lot of different things you could do with it. But Cody doesn't recommend Snare Wire, probably because it's not something that everybody has. But most people have a roll of dental floss they can throw in their survival kit. Next, talk about signaling. He recommends, this is what he recommends, colored surveyor's flagging tape. This is what you see at job sites and construction sites. He recommends that you roll up a bunch of it and tape it up. This is a roll, maybe 10, 15 feet. Might be more than that. It's been probably 10 years since I packed this. I don't actually carry this. What I carry is a orange signal panel out of a Combat Lifesaver Kit, U.S. Army Combat Lifesaver Kit. The thing about this is it's more UV resistant, and you can cut it into strips. You don't get as much for it. This is a maybe 8 by 4 inch piece, so you could cut it in a number of strips. But the nice thing about it is that it won't degrade in the sun very quickly, whereas this might fade more quickly. In a 3-day survival scenario, as Cody, basically this kit is designed around the 3-day window. If you're not rescued within 3 days, you might not make it, but with this kit, you should. Next thing for signaling, he recommends a whistle. Now this is a combination. This is a compass, whistle, it's a mirror, ferro rod, and a space for matches, but let's just focus on the whistle portion of it. Whistle for signaling, 3 blasts is going to be something that people know you need help. Next we'll go into Combustion, since I've got this in my hand, a watertight match safe. He recommends you carry strike anywhere matches in here. I have just regular safety matches in there, in which case you have to carry the striker. It's actually very hard to find strike anywhere matches, at least in my area. I've gone to a number of stores looking for them and haven't been able to find them. So I just carry waterproof safety matches. He also recommends a map and compass. This is just the compass. I'm not carrying the maps with me today, but you want to have maps of the area. He recommends the 3.5 topo maps because that's generally the scale that most rescue agencies are going to be using, which is a nice thing because if you are able to be on sort of the same page as they are, you're likely to see the same landmarks in the same area, versus if you have a map where everything is really magnified, you might not be seeing the general area, the lay of the land, as much as one of these maps would. So I think the 3.5 is a good compromise. Next, for ignition, we have a Bic lighter. He doesn't recommend Bic because they don't have an adjustable flame. I don't usually carry a lighter, but a Bic lighter I think is fine. Next, you need tinder. He recommends that you take cotton balls and smear them in Vaseline. I don't like to dunk them in and sort of scoop them into the Vaseline because it gets everywhere, but I like to take my finger and then smear it on the outside. You can also use dryer lint, or these are cotton dental swabs that you get at the dentist's office. Another option would be store-bought. These came with my Sparklight. They're medical kits, little tinder sticks. So you need to have some sort of tinder. The next item that is one of my number one items, this is a magnesium bar. The idea behind a magnesium bar is it's got the tinder and it's got the spark. So you scrape the tinder and give it the spark. This is 100% waterproof, and as long as you dry it off before you use it, it's got hundreds, maybe even, well, maybe not thousands of uses, but it's got a lot of opportunity for you to get your fire going. The really thing that I like about this versus the regular tinder is because if this gets wet, these magnesium will burn wet. So if things are a little bit wet, this might not ignite, but this will. Next, let's talk about illumination. You've got your flashlight. He recommends a AA flashlight, AA mag light. I've tricked it out the same way he has with duct tape and the electrical tape. Personally, I'd go with something LED. A lot has changed in the past 9 years. You know, LED lights are all the rage now. This is a LD20 Phoenix. But personally, I would go with something like this Energizer crank light because it's going to give you many, many uses, and whenever it runs down, you can just crank it up. He recommends you carry a cotton bandana, brightly colored. There's so many uses for this. You can use it as a flag, you can use it to make char cloth, you can use it to carry items in, and we'll talk about that. Recommends that you carry a condom, a non-lubricated condom to carry water. I don't like condoms for water carrying because they're so brittle, so I don't ever carry them. I've just shown one here. The other thing for water, standard Nalgene bottle wrapped with duct tape and with a paracord loop. I don't have a lot of tape on this one because I just put it on for demonstration purposes. But if you wrap your tape on there, it keeps it nice and fresh and you can just peel it off when you want it. The paracord loop allows you to lower this into a well or a deep hole, anything where there's water. A knife. Recommends a carbon steel knife of the Mora type. This is a Wahoo killer, so it's a Mora knockoff. But really, I think it makes an excellent survival knife. Whether it's a Mora or one of these Wahoo killers, a 4-inch blade like this, you can actually get a lot done. And especially if you've reef-profiled the edge to have that nice narrow angle on there. Cody's carried the same Mora knife around his neck for the past 10 to 15 years. It works for him. He gets the job done. He's not one of these gurus that has a new knife every 6 months, like certain people who shall remain nameless. Cody finds what he likes and gets the job done. I think a Mora is perfectly adequate for most survival tasks. You're not going to be able to baton big wood with it, but what you can do is learn how to split wood. You can use this to make spears, you can use it to make shelter, skin animals, anything. So you need a knife. He recommends carbon steel though as opposed to stainless because you can take the back of the knife and bang it on a rock and get sparks. I mean, I carried different methods of fire, and I would hate to really bang up my knife on a rock, but you could do it. Next, flexible drinking tube. This isn't drinking tube, this is surgical tubing, works the same way. Forgot to mention this in signaling. A signal mirror, that's a no-brainer. Credit card magnifying lens, that's always important. And these are your spare batteries for the flashlight. Now, he also recommends that you carry energy bars. Cliff bars, Pro bars, whatever it is, doesn't matter, but it might give you that added boost when you need it. Also, for the duct tape, if you don't want to put it on your bottle, you can get a small roll like this by taking a tube, wrapping your duct tape on it, the body of a pen, or the stem out of maybe a soap dispenser or something. Now next, for water purification, tincture of iodine 2%. This is just from the local pharmacy. It's $3 or $4. This will purify lots and lots of Nalgene bottles. You can do maybe 100, I don't know, maybe more. But in a 3-day scenario, you're not going to run out of this. You want to have 5 drops per US quart or liter, they say, so 20 drops per gallon. So this is, again, tincture of iodine, 2%. It is a solution of alcohol and iodine. Next, homemade first aid kit. You need to have stuff to stop the bleeding. This has gauze, trauma bandages, it's got band-aids, everything you need, but a good first aid kit. Next, he recommends something for energy. He recommends a mixture of ephedrine and caffeine. Now, there's problems with ephedrine, and so I've opted for these little energy sheets. These are okay, use them at work occasionally, just gives you that little extra boost. So you want something that might give you that pep if you need to maybe hike all night to get out of a situation. Now, that's the contents of the kit. The one thing that I feel is lacking is a metal container. This is a USGI canteen cup. The advantage of this is you can't break it, you can't smash it, it's going to always work, and you can boil water in it. So I would recommend that you carry a metal water container. Maybe it isn't a canteen cup, maybe it's just a tin can. Maybe you take other items and cram them in the tin can, a soup can or something. Personally, I would pair it with a USGI canteen, but I never go out without a metal container of some sort. Because if you lose everything else, if you still have your knife, your cup, and your fire steel, I think you've pretty much got everything you need to make it back. Everything else is a luxury, but the 3 things you need to be able to cut, have combustion, and you need a container. That's my personal philosophy. And I was a little surprised that it wasn't included in the book, but you know, Cody's learned how to do it himself. The iodine works really well, so it's up to you if you want to include a metal container or not. Anyways guys, that's all the time I have for today. This is Pointshooter signing out. Hope you enjoyed the video.